The Bogdana Corporation is proud to present Let's Talk About Health with your host, Robert Anderson. He'll talk about all aspects of health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now here's your host, Robert Anderson.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk About Health. We have a guest today. Her name is Suzi, and I think you're going to find her story to be remarkable. She's been taking the Bogdana nutritional formulas for quite some time, and she had been diagnosed as having a very dangerous disease. In fact, her doctor at one point told her she may not have long to live. But we're going to welcome Suzi to the show in a little while, but before we do, we're going to set forth our thought for the day, and this one is by someone who a lot of you football fans respect, and his name is Vincent Lombardi, and I quote, "The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor." I think that it's good for everyone to become committed to the idea of excellence and perhaps focus on whatever it is that you like to do, or maybe on what you work at for 30 or 40 hours a week. But I think you too will find that if you commit yourself to excellence, and if you follow through with that commitment in a very significant way, you might find some very interesting things happening to your life, just as Vincent Lombardi did. And instead of talking about some of the current news in health and nutrition, I think we're going to do what some of you have asked for quite frequently, and that's to talk about some of the science that is behind the Bogdana nutritional formula. And a lot of people call up and they ask us about the energy in the formula. And actually, if you want to read something very enlightening, you might read the Nobel Prize thesis. The thesis had a lot to do with energy. And the Nobel Prize that I'm referring to is one that was given to two German scientists in 1991, in the fall of 1991. And basically, one aspect of their thesis had to do with the idea that if we were if mankind was ever able to get energy into the body at a cellular level, that we might experience some tremendous health benefits. And one of the things that they wrote about in their thesis had to do with something that's not being acknowledged by the Orthodox medical establishment in a very significant way, and that has a lot to do with pollutants in the body. And of course, I think everybody's aware of what's going on with contamination today, that every time we take a breath we get carbon monoxide from automobile exhaust fumes, and even when we eat our food, when we have a piece of meat, we're getting red dyes and hormones in the food, and preservatives on the fruit and on the vegetables. So I think most people today who are health conscious are aware to one degree or another of what's going on with pollution and contamination. And in that particular Nobel Prize thesis, it's also written about, in regard to the same idea, they were at least insightful enough to conclude that there is a very dangerous problem going around today, having to do with pollutants in the body, contamination as a result of our environment. And one of the ideas that they set forth in their thesis had a lot to do with the detoxification system within us. Of course, we all have a natural ability to clean ourselves. Our own bodies have an amazing ability to clean itself, and so many constituents of nature have the same ability. The ocean, which has been researched in the last 20 years like it never has been before, has a natural ability to clean itself. So this isn't just something that's relevant to human beings, but according to that thesis, one level of that thesis had to do with how it's quite possible that the electron system within us, the electron movement within us, is slowing down, and the speed of the electrons within us has a lot to do with the detoxification system. And the idea set forth in that paper had to do with how the severe contamination in the human body, the high level of pollution in the human body, is causing that electron spin to slow down. And that has a lot to do, that electron spin has a lot to do with detoxification. It's comparable to being on a merry-go-round, and the way the detoxification system within us works is parallel to that idea. If you can think of the electrons as being a merry-go-round and it's spinning around, well, the pollutants are not holding on. And if you can envision what might happen to you if you were on that merry-go-round and you weren't holding on as it picked up speed, you would get thrown off the merry-go-round. And basically the same thing happens with detoxification. The pollutants are thrown out of the body if the electron system, or if you will, that merry-go-round is spinning at the correct speed. They will get thrown out of the body simply by centrifugal force. But if the speed of those electrons, or if you will, once again, that merry-go-round, if it slows down, then the toxins don't get thrown out of the body, much the same as you would not get thrown off the merry-go-round if you were not holding on as the merry-go-round were spinning around slowly. And so what happens when you get the energy into your system, according to that particular thesis, is the electron spin comes back to normal speed, and the pollutants would get thrown out of the body by the centrifugal force the same way that you would off the merry-go-round. Now, when you take Bogdana, it's the only formula in the world. It's a liquid formula. It has live energy in it. That's electromagnetic energy at the correct frequency for the human body, and it's identical to the energy that God puts in every cell of your body. And I think that everyone seems to get have that particular reaction occur when they get the energy into their body at a cellular level, that they all seem to go through detoxification where poisons come out of the body. And that's extremely significant because I think we have a compound problem today with people out there who are in the same position as all of us are. We're getting so much contamination into our body. And what we need to do is realize that we have a compound problem. We're getting more pollutants into our body than ever before in the history of mankind. And on the other hand, we've lost the ability to detoxify them. So that's one of the reasons why I'd like to see everybody take Bogdana, because it's important to have the detoxification system working well. There's so many studies done today about the relationship between poisons in the body, contamination in the body, and cancer. So I'd like to see everyone become health conscious, and so many of you out there are, but become aware of this other level of thinking about health, and that is the detoxification system within us, because it's relatively unrecognized, and yet it's probably one of the most profound features within the human body, having to do with maintaining good health. So get it working well, get that electron system moving again at the speed that it's supposed to be moving at, and get rid of those poisons. And I'd like to invite our guest on the show at this particular time. Her name is Suzi, and she has a very interesting story. I think you'll agree with me when you get done hearing it about how profound that story is. And Suzi, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. It's an honor for me to be on your program with Bogdana.
We feel the same way about you too, Suzi. You've been taking Bogdana for how long now?
About a year now.
Uh-huh. And you were diagnosed, Suzi, as having a disease quite a while ago. It was about
4 years ago in the fall.
Tell us about that.
Exactly 4 years ago.
And what was that disease?
All right, gastrointestinal specialist detected hepatitis B,
you
chronic
had
active.
Hepatitis B, chronic active? Okay.
When I was admitted to the hospital with a bleeding ulcer.
Mm-hmm.
And he advised me to go to a liver specialist in New Jersey. But the specialist didn't offer any hope of cure except a possible liver transplant when my condition became worse. So naturally, I returned home very discouraged. But I had no physical pain then. I was just getting increasingly difficult for me to cope with my fatigue. Since I had to work, meaning my husband had been in and out of a hospital since 1980, I had to go to work. I somehow managed to function at the office. But when I returned home, I would just have a bite to eat, soak in the hot tub, crawl into my bed, and collapse. And no matter how long I slept or rested, my fatigue seemed to get worse. So I just dreaded getting up in the mornings to go to work. And in March of 1990, out of desperation, I returned to my gastrointestinal specialist. After he received my lab results, he said to come to his office right away. The doctor explained that normal range of liver enzyme called SGOT and SGPT should be from 0 to 50. But my liver enzyme levels were very high. SGOT was 223, and SGPT was 357.
Is that really true? You had an SGOT enzyme level of 220 and an SGPT...
223.
223 and an SGPT enzyme level of 357?
That's right.
Wow, that's...
I have the report with me, so I went again, just to write down so that I can give an accurate report.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, he mentioned that a treatment through something called interferon, it's through injection, may help my condition.
Mm-hmm.
He said it has a recovery rate of 30 to 40%. However, he cautioned that the side effects are very bad. It may cause flu-like symptoms, headaches and nausea, mood swings, and depression. Besides, if I remember correctly, he indicated it may be around $100 per injection, and I may need to be on it once a day for 6 months.
That was the interferon, is that correct? Uh-huh. Okay.
And since I was the sole earner, I just could not come up with $18,000, nor cope with the side effect, which would have hampered my ability to work.
What were supposed to be some of the side effects of taking the interferon?
Well, like he said, it's like having perpetual flu, headaches, nausea, mood swings, depression.
Mm-hmm. And did you feel that you didn't? How did you feel about that?
Well, I just couldn't cope with that. I had to work, as I said earlier, and it would definitely affect my work performance. And also, $100 a day for 6 months. I mean, that comes up to $18,000, and I could not come up with that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a prayer request at my church. Countless friends and family members started to uphold me in prayers. Then in April of 1990, that was a year later, over half a year later, a month after I visited my doctor, I had to fulfill an obligation to speak at a women's retreat in New Jersey. I made that a commitment several months prior to that, so I could not get out. And when I went there, I didn't let on I was feeling terrible. I spoke on 2 topics, forgiveness during the morning session and on how to overcome difficulties during the afternoon session.
Mm-hmm.
To sidetrack a bit, I learned valuable lessons from God through the war and hardship in life. In fact, I had written a book called The Story of Suzi, published in '84.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of print, but I'm hoping to get it reprinted on the new
so
title,
too. You sound like quite a survivor. I'd like to read a story about
I would
survivor.
like to have it reprinted under new title called Unwanted.
I bet you could teach us all a lot about how to overcome difficulties and face challenges in life, Suzi. But I'm sorry, go ahead with your story.
Yeah, but anyway, to give you a thumbnail sketch about the book, I had polio as an infant. We faced the first invasion from the communists in Korea in June of 1950. I was left behind by my parents in January of 51 at the age of 15 because I would have impeded their escape at the onset of the second invasion from the communists.
Mm-hmm.
So alone in a brutal war, I not only faced hunger, bombing, interrogations from the communists, but even rape.
Oh, boy.
Through the help of American soldiers, they recaptured, so we were free again. But my parents would not send me to school because they felt it would be a waste on a handicapped female child. But American soldiers who came to our aid taught me English language.
Well, we're kind of getting off the track here, and it sounds like an interesting story, and I think that I can attest to the idea that you are quite a survivor just from your health conflict that you had before.
Yeah.
But let's get back to what we were talking about before, because I think we left everybody on the edge of the seat. Here you are with this...
Okay. Anyway...
with this, we were talking about you were diagnosed with hepatitis B, which is very dangerous. What are some of the symptoms of hepatitis B?
Well, first of all, hepatitis B is contagious through the blood and through sexual contact. And the most main symptom is chronic fatigue. Mm-hmm. You just feel so tired you can just hardly cope with yourself, really.
Mm-hmm. And those numbers were astronomical too about your enzyme level, which certainly underscore the idea that you had a very bad case, very dangerous level of the hepatitis B virus, having an SGOT enzyme level of 223 and an SGPT enzyme level of 357. How dangerous was it? What did your doctor say was the were the possibilities as far as the future is concerned?
Well, he said that one option would be interferon, another option would be a liver transplant. However, for a person with hepatitis B, liver transplants are not most effective thing because you may get the virus again through the liver because it's in your system.
Yeah, so you were really in a very dangerous state. And at this point... when he insisted, when I went again, it was again bad. My enzyme levels were low again. High again. So he told me that I must take it. And when I rejected, he said, all right, then, you must designate a proxy before your health fails. Meaning I would just expire pretty soon. Oh, boy. Well, I think we're going to return to that in a moment, and I think that we'll keep people waiting to find out what happened and keep them in suspense for a moment, Susie, because I just want to say a word about the most amazing nutritional formula in the world, and that is the Bogdana nutritional formula, and there's absolutely nothing like it on the face of the earth, nor has there ever been anything like it, and it's a liquid nutritional formula. I think it's the only nutritional formula in the world because the idea is to get the nutrients into the tiny opening in the cell wall. And Bogdana accomplishes that by breaking all 150 nutrients. Yes, that's right, 150 nutrients, which I think makes it the most complete nutritional formula in the world. But we break through all of those nutrients down to microscopic size to ensure that all the nutrition is going to get into the tiny opening in the cell wall, and that's extremely important because one of the biggest criticisms of the traditional vitamins, those vitamin pills, is a very small percentage of what you take really makes entry into the tiny opening in the cell wall. And also, very often, many of you who are on the who are functioning on that megavitamin therapy type approach to nutrition are taking from about 15 or 20 jars of vitamins every day. With Bogdana, we strongly recommend that the only formula you take is the Bogdana formula because it's in perfect balance. All 150 nutrients are in perfect balance, and it's the only formula in the world that is in perfect balance, the same balance that nature provides nutrients in food. And if you've done your homework on nutrition, you know that vitamins and amino acids and all of the good things in the Bogdana nutritional formula don't really work very well unless they are in perfect balance. And not only do we have 150 nutrients broken down to microscopic size, but we have live energy in the formula, electromagnetic energy, as spoken about earlier, at the correct frequency for the human body. And we've already spoken about the implications that holds for the health of each person. But we have many fine features within the formula. One of the wonderful things about the formula is that you only have to take 1/3 of a teaspoon. That's a little less than the size of a dime twice a day. Why so little? Well, it's highly concentrated with micronutrition. Everything gets into the tiny opening in the cell wall, and that's really why you need so little. And the only nutrient that one may take with it is vitamin C, although we do have plenty of vitamin C in the formula. Vitamin C is the only nutrient that will not upset the balance of the Bogdana nutritional formula. And a lot of people ask, well, can I take herbs? Well, yeah, of course you can take herbs. They're not really vitamins and minerals or amino acids. So you can take herbs like garlic or any other herbs that you might be taking. But as far as other multiple vitamins or any isolated vitamin, we prefer that you not take that. If you feel that you must, and I don't really think you have to, but if you feel that you must, at least take them 2 hours away from the Bogdana nutritional formula. But I really feel that you'll probably fare a lot better if you just take the Bogdana nutritional formula alone. Perhaps if you want to take some vitamin C, that's fine. But we have 3 sizes. We have a $29 1-month supply, a $55 2-month supply, and a $79 3-month supply, and there's a money-back guarantee on the first purchase. Generally the way it operates or functions within people is that when the body begins to function better, you go through about 2 months on the average of detoxification, where the body cleans itself out, and then around the 3rd month one can expect to start feeling some of the energy and the good benefits. And we have skincare formula. And that's very interesting because I think it truly is skincare formula. They're filled with micronutrients and the same energy that we put into the Bogdana nutritional formula. And we have a starter kit consisting of all 6 of our skincare formulas that retails for $39.95 5. That has a money-back guarantee also on the first purchase. And then we have a large collection that retails for $239, discounted from $297 when you buy the complete large collection. That's approximately a 4-month supply. So give us a call even if it's just to order a brochure on all of our fine products. That's for free, and operators are there now, as they will be all week long. So give us a call at 1-800-82-HEALTH, HEALTH, or 1-800-824-3258. That's 1-800-824-3258, or 1-800-82-HEALTH, HEALTH. And Suzi, getting back to your story, because it certainly is an interesting one. We had, before we talked about Bogdana, we were saying how the doctor was actually, gave you a very sad prediction as to what the future might be, and that he was more or less telling you that you had better prepare for your death. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And at that point, how did you take that, and what did you do?
All right, so I told the doctor, if I should reach a point of no recovery, please do not resuscitate me through artificial means. I just felt so terrible. I just didn't want to go on living. Now, during this time, my husband has recovered, to a point of functioning, and heard you speak on the radio about Bogdana. Because I wasn't home during the day, so I did not hear your program. Without my knowing, he ordered a bottle of Bogdana rejuvenating nutritional formula and advised me to take it. And I shrugged my shoulder and said, how could this vitamin that looks and smells like molasses help me? Mm-hmm. Nothing can help me, I told him. When it's my time to go, I must go. And I felt I was doomed to face a premature death. My husband didn't coerce me to take it, but he left the Bogdana bottle on the kitchen table with a booklet with it and a teaspoon. Mm-hmm. After staring at it for 2 weeks, I decided to try it just to get him off my back. But strangely, my exhaustion seemed to decrease slightly by the time I finished the first bottle. I continued to take 1/3 of a teaspoon twice a day. Well, Mr. Anderson, to give you a wonderful report, my test in April of this year showed that my liver enzyme level dropped to 24 and 25 within perfect range.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, it really dropped to that low of a level?
Yeah.
Could you tell us that one more way? Back up now, because you said something very important, because earlier in the show that you told us that around the time that the doctor was predicting that you better get to the point where, advising you that you better think about making your last will and testament. You were
that was a year ago.
Yeah, and you were saying that your enzyme level was 220 for SGOT, and SGPT was 357, or actually, excuse me, SGOT was 223. And you said before that normal is between 0 and 50, mm-hmm. and you said after a year of Bogdana, now what is your enzyme level for those two enzymes?
Okay, in April it was 24 and 25, and September, last month, September 4th of last month, they dropped even further to 22 and 19.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And then I have to tell you one more thing. Besides, I have had a moderately high cholesterol level, fluctuating between 209 and 225 for many years. Mm-hmm. And I also learned about Cholesterol from your company. Uh-huh. And I've been taking it for 2 months. And would you believe my cholesterol level dropped to 174?
Well, I would believe it, because we're at those... it's at 174 now?
Yes. And
first time, excuse me, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. First time in many years. Uh-huh. So I just want to thank the Lord, who has given the wisdom to the scientist, Dr. Joseph Gruber, who developed Bogdana. And thank you for hosting the daily radio program on Bogdana, and for sharing the positive testimonies from your listeners about their remarkable improvements in their health. They are very encouraging. And it is my prayer that my sharing will help others.
Well, I'm sure it will, but we have more to say here. And what I was getting back to, too, now you took the Cholesterol primarily for the idea that you wanted to lower cholesterol?
Yes.
Did taking Cholesterol have anything to do at all with the hepatitis B?
Well, I really did not distinguish. Uh-huh. I just give a credit to Bogdana.
The Bogdana nutritional formula.
Yeah, because that's what kept my enzyme level low.
Yeah, well, with Cholesterol, it's an interesting product. I think it's really something that most people, I think we've all been brainwashed to the point where we always look for drugs for the answer for everything, prescription drugs, and it's always interesting to me about how people, and we get about 500 phone calls a week at the Bogdana Corporation, but it's so interesting to me about how people will call up, and one must bear in mind that Bogdana is an all-natural product, the Bogdana nutritional formula, but they'll call up and I don't know, can I take this? They'll often say, and I'm concerned, and what are the side effects? And I just wonder that if whether or not these very same people ask their doctors for the side effects of dangerous of prescription drugs that might have dangerous side effects. And it always interests me that they ask us those questions about a purely natural product. But as much credit, Suzi, as I would like to give Bogdana, and I felt the same enthusiasm as you do when I had chronic fatigue syndrome, and I had such a very bad case of it. When I had that disappear from my body, I was praising Bogdana nutritional formula to the hilt, and I just remember Joe Gruber, the scientist who invented the product, telling me, Robert, there's much praise as I'd like to give to my own formula that I invented. The praise really belongs to the body, that the miracle lies in the body's ability to heal itself when it gets the correct raw materials. So Cholestaway, by the way, is an interesting product. The way it works, it comes in wafer form. The wafer is about the size of a quarter, and it's a combination of nutrients, but it's the right combination, the right ratio and proportion. That when it's in that combination, what happens is when you take it during a meal, one molecule of Cholestaway grabs onto 2 molecules of fat, and very little fat gets into the body. And it's an amazing product in that it's a natural product, and one doesn't have to worry about it in relationship to side effects, because it's not a dangerous drug. It is natural, and this is what Suzi was talking about in regard to lowering her cholesterol level. Her cholesterol level went down when she took the Cholestaway wafers. It retails for $29.95, and one can buy it call the same number to buy it that we spoke about before. Just give us a call if you're interested in Cholestaway or in our nutritional products or our skincare products. Give us a call at 1-800-82-HEALTH, HEALTH, or 1-800-824-3258. And that's also if you're interested in that product that so many of you are interested in. I know that a lot of you are interested in oxygen therapy. So much is being said about it. We have that product in our line of products called Genesis 1000 that retails for $17.95, that in actuality is oxygen therapy. It's oxygen locked in a crystal, and when the crystal dissolves in your bloodstream, you're left with pure free-floating oxygen, and oxygen's a wonderful product. Some people refer to it as vitamin O. So parasites die when they're in proximity of oxygen, so do viruses, and also oxygen is wonderful for the brain, and it's nice to get some oxygen in our body at a time when people are breathing air that has a lot of carbon monoxide, lead, and other pollutants within it. So if you'd like to order our product, give us a call. And all of you out there in the listening audience, give us a call, even if it's just to order a catalog, 1-800-82-HEALTH, 1-800-824-3258. And for all of you out there in the listening audience, this has been Robert Anderson and Suzi wishing all of you good health.
To obtain further information or to order the Bogdana products, call 1-800-82-HEALTH. That's 1-800-824-3258.